All right, we are our last class, should be our last class on the book of Numbers. 3.5 semesters worth of Numbers, and I think it's been a thrilling class. Hopefully it's been inspirational to you as well. But there's been a lot we've learned through the book of Numbers. What were we talking about last week?
6 cities of refuge.
6 cities of refuge. Can anybody name those cities?
Kadesh.
Kadesh and Galilee, yes. Shechem. Huh?
Hebron.
And Shechem, right? And then and the Hebron, right? So those 3 cities are on the west side of the Jordan River, and then there's 3 cities on the east side of the Jordan River. And those would be Bezer, Ramah, and Golan. So we talked about the cities. What's the purpose of these cities of refuge?
They were a place that you could run to if you accidentally kill somebody.
Right, right. Yeah. What is the law of killing somebody? Yeah, right. Yeah, you execution, right? And so here we had an opportunity. God gave a law of mercy that if you accidentally killed somebody, you could run to the city of refuge. And then what would happen when you get to the city of refuge? Right, a trial would be taking place by your peers, and so hopefully they would have had witnesses that would witness the accidental. Oh, yes, that was Roosevelt. He was just clumsy and a paint can fell on somebody's head, and so it wasn't his fault. Someone would testify, but hopefully has a second witness, or else we have some trouble going on. But here we have an opportunity for a trial, and so the trial would determine, yes, that was accidental, or no, that was premeditated. And so if it was accidental, the individual would be acquitted. And so what would happen to that individual then?
He would stay there.
He would stay there. He would just had to stay within the city of refuge or within the suburb of the city of refuge and couldn't leave. What happens if he left?
He could
The accused and killed.
Yeah, he could be killed. He could be killed by a family member out for vengeance for the death of their family. So when could he leave the city? When the high priest died. Very unusual, right? That's very intriguing, and I think I've looked at several Jewish sources, and they come up with various reasons why God gave that law. And I think what we ultimately find is the only reason was a picture pointing to Christ. That's the only reason why it is. And so probably the best part of last week's class was pointing to Christ, where the cities of refuge is a picture of Christ. And so Jesus is our refuge. We spent the last part of the class talking about that. The comparison between the cities of refuge, we found that the city of refuge and salvation is accessible to all. And we pointed out the verse where you had the children of Israel, the sojourners and the strangers. They were all welcome to come into the city of refuge. Same with salvation. Salvation is not just one particular group of people, it's for everybody. We find the cities of refuge and salvation are easily reached. Salvation is there waiting for everybody, right? And the 6 cities of refuge was equally located around the nation of Israel, so you can get there easily. We found also that the city of refuge had highways built in them. Make sure, take out the mountains and the ravines and the way built bridges, make it a super highway to get you there. Put signs up, put guide, people were there to guide. No, this is the city of refuge. Just wait, come on, get over here. This is where you need to be. You're on the right track. And hopefully we are all our guides to the real city of refuge, which is salvation. We also see that the city of refuge and Jesus are sufficient for all our needs. Once you're in the city had to have its own water source, its own food to supply, because you're not leaving. You're not leaving. Salvation is sufficient for all our needs as well. And if one chose not to flee to the city of refuge, or if one chooses not to accept salvation, what's left?
Nothing.
There's no hope. There's no hope. Your only hope was to go to the city of refuge. Your only hope is to accept salvation.
So does it mean they peace in that city? You don't fight, you don't kill each other?
I'm sure it's a normal city. I would be basically what we see what God did with you set up courthouses city. So basically, the nation of Israel is divided up into 6 judicial districts, if you want to call it in our day's terms, right? And like today, if you had a problem, you would run to downtown Tampa and you go to the courthouse, right? The courthouse is your city of refuge. And then the matters would be settled there, right? And so this is God setting that system up. We also find out that Jesus is better than the cities of refuge because he died only for the guilty. Remember, the cities of refuge is for the innocent. But here we have Jesus died only for the guilty. Now, did he only die for a couple people because only a couple people are guilty? No, we're all guilty. We're all condemned. In fact, with us, we are condemned already. The trial's already done. We're already condemned. And here we get to run to him because he's already died for us. And then we also find that Jesus' death has made us free. Just like the high priest, when the high priest died, they were now set free. Only because of Jesus' death are we now set free. We can have liberty. And what do we do with our liberty? We use that to serve him. Does that make sense? I think it's a beautiful picture. Unbelievable, beautiful picture of Christ. All right, so one of the things we want to talk about here is that the cities have their own meanings. We talked about the meanings of the cities, so you want to bring those up here. But the meanings of the cities actually tell a story. And I pulled this off from a pastor, and so this is probably him putting together a little sermon based on the meanings of the city, but I thought it was pretty neat. All right, so first city, Kadesh, means what?
Sanctuary.
Holy place. Holy place. So a holy place of righteousness. This is our first need. This is our first need. If you're a sinner, you're unsaved, what's your first need? You realize, I need to go to the holy place. I need righteousness. I am directly opposite of what I need, right? So I need to make a 180-degree turn. So this is our first need. When we come to Christ, he gives us righteousness and forgives us of all our sins. Only that which is clean can cleanse. Only that which is clean can cleanse. So if you're somebody who accidentally killed somebody, you realize, I have just violated God's law, I just murdered somebody, but it was accidental, and I had this opportunity to flee to a city of refuge. I am now running to that need. And so the holy place, salvation is a need we have. And so we run into a holy place. We run to Christ because he's righteous. We run to Christ because he can cleanse us of all our sins. Right? The second city, Shechem. What does that one mean? Shoulder. Shoulder. So then you run to Christ, or you run to the city of refuge. What are you going to do? You're going to put your head on his shoulder. You're going to put your head on his shoulder. My boys, they could stub their toe or get hurt or something. What's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to run. Well, not to me. To mommy. They're going to run to mommy. And what are they going to do next? They're going to put their head on her shoulder. And then for some reason after that, they're fine and they run away. Right? But that's what they did. They know where to run to, and then they put their head on the shoulder. So this is what we do with Christ. We put our head on his shoulder. So this word Shechem, meaning shoulder, suggests that we find in Christ a resting place, a friend on whom we can lay our burdens. He is the refuge for the weary. A tired child finds refuge on the shoulder of his loving Father, just as the Lord Jesus has borne our burden upon his shoulder. When we're out there and we haven't accepted Christ for sinners, what are we doing? We're weary and we find no recourse. We find no hope, no solution. What do? We hear this opportunity of salvation that God has provided through Jesus. We run to him, and then we give it all over to him, right? It's no longer mine. I've given it up. He's taking it from me. I put my head on his shoulder. The third city, Hebron, means what? Alliance. Or fellowship. Has a connotation of fellowship. So only then, when we run to him, and we've given ourselves to him, can we then have fellowship? Can we then have fellowship? So this word suggests fellowship with God in Christ and also our fellowship with other believers. 1 John 1:3, that which we have seen and heard declare we unto you, that ye also have made fellowship with us. And truly our fellowship is with the Father and with the Son, Jesus Christ. One of the amazing things with the trips I've been on, and probably you've seen this as well, you're going to see people you've never even met before. But you introduce yourself for the first time, you feel like you've known them forever. You're in fellowship. I've accepted Christ, and in fellowship with Christ, they've accepted Christ, they're in fellowship with Christ. It's like an immediate bond, and you have this long-lasting friendship that never goes away. It's quite remarkable. So before you have fellowship, you have to run to him and give him your all. All right, the fourth city, Bezer.
Fortress.
Means fortress or stronghold. And so what does that mean? Well, with Christ, he is our fortress, he is our stronghold, he is our rock. We have protection and victory in Christ. The safest place in the world is in the will of God. Jesus Christ is the refuge for the helpless. Proverbs 18:10, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. He's safe. So we have fellowship with Christ. He is now holding us in the palm of his hand. We are safe. We are in his will. Nothing can be taken. We can't be taken from him. In the fortress, just like here with the city of refuge. Once you're in the city of refuge, you can't be taken out. You can't be taken out. You are safe there. You're safe there. All right, the fifth one, Ramoth. Heights, exalted, or heights. Sin always leads a person down, but Christ lifts us up. And one day we shall be caught up together in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. So sin has just driven us to the ground. And what does the Lord do? He takes that away from us and he pulls us up. We now can walk with integrity and respect because we are in the palm of his hand. We are safe in his fortress. We are safe in him. We have fellowship with him. When the Heavenly Father looks on us, he doesn't see us as a wretched sinner, but a clean, righteous individual because of Christ. All right, the sixth city, Golan. Golan means captive. Or if you're captive, what's another way of looking at that, of being captive? You're separated. You're separated. And I like the other word here, secure as well. Another way to look at being captive is if you're separated, you're not back home. Those who are captives are, kept away or separated. So what does that mean for us? We are separated from the world. We are a peculiar people. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9, but you're a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Here in the city of refuge, they were captive, weren't they? They were acquitted, but then they were basically captive. They were separated from the rest of the world. Nothing could happen to them. They were separated. They were separated. So I thought that was a very cool way to look at these 6 cities and their meaning tell a story. We have to run to the holy place. We have to put our head on his shoulder. We have fellowship with him. We are in a fortress. We're protected. And we're exalted. He's lifted us up. He's pulled us out of the miry clay. And then we're separated unto him. So the story of the 6 cities of refuge. Any questions on the city of refuge? I think that's very excited about the picture of Christ here. All right, continue on. Numbers chapter 35 and verse 6. Numbers chapter 35, verse 6. And among the cities which ye shall give unto the Levites, there shall be 6 cities for refuge. And so we've talked about those 6 cities, which ye shall appoint for the manslayer, that he may flee thither, and to them ye shall add 42 cities. So you have 6 cities that are a city of refuge, and then you add 42 cities to that. How many total cities are we talking about? 48 cities. So there are going to be 48 Levitical cities. Number 6 is 48. So all the cities which ye shall give to Levites shall be 48 cities. Them shall ye give with them their suburbs, and the cities which ye shall give shall be the possession of the children of Israel. From them that have many ye shall give many. For them that have few ye shall give few. Everyone shall give of his cities unto the Levites according to his inheritance, which he inherited. Joshua chapter 21, verse 1. Then came near the heads of the fathers, the Levites, and Eleazar the priest unto Joshua the son of Nun, unto the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And I think I was going somewhere with that. What's the name? Oh, it's on the back. I actually printed double-sided. And they spake unto them at Shiloh in the land of Canaan, saying, The Lord commanded by the hand of Moses to give us cities to dwell in, with the suburbs thereof for our cattle. And the children of Israel gave unto the Levites out of their inheritance at the commandment of the Lord these cities and their suburbs. We now see that Jacob's prophecy for his son Levi is now coming true. Does anybody remember the prophecy that Jacob had for prophecy or blessing for his son Levi? Does anybody remember that? It's kind of joined up with his brother Simeon.
Oh, it's scattered or?
Will be scattered, that's right. So Genesis chapter 49, Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor. Be not thou united. In their anger they slew a man, in their self-will they digged down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So here we're talking about Levi. These dots here represent the 48 cities, or Levitical cities. Do you think they're scattered? They're scattered. And so the prophecy for Levi is coming to fruition. Now the cities are not mentioned here in Numbers, and so you have to go to Joshua chapter 21 for this. Joshua chapter 21. So since we're not having a study on Joshua, I figured we can go there. Joshua chapter 21, verse 4, the lot came out of the families of the Kohathites, and the children of Aaron the priest, which were of the Levites, had by lot out of the tribe of Judah, and out of the tribe of Simeon, and out of the tribe of Benjamin, 13 cities. 13 cities. So what group of people, what portion of the Levites are we talking about now?
The Kohathites.
The Kohathites. And who are the Kohathites?
The Kohathites, they were they the ones that had the wagons?
So the Kohathites are the ones that the Aaron is going to come from. So we're going to talk about the priestly line, but the priests only came from Aaron. So the Kohathites' inheritance are going to be divided into two. And so we're first going to talk about the portion given to the children of Aaron, which are a portion of the Kohathites, but the children of Aaron are mentioned first. And then we're going to talk about the cities of the rest of the Kohathites, the rest of the tribe, the rest of the clan of Kohathites. So the 13, we find here 13 cities are given to the tribes, are located in the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin, and they're given to the children of Aaron. And so number one, the 13 cities, and these 13 cities that we're going to be talking about are located in Judah and Benjamin and Simeon. And so Aaron, why do you think God had Aaron placed in Judah and Benjamin? Have their cities in Judah and Benjamin? They're priests. Okay. Why there?
Wasn't Judah the kingly line?
Judah's the kingly line, right? Where's Jerusalem located?
Judah.
Well, it's actually in Benjamin.
Right there on the line.
Benjamin, yeah. And so, isn't it nice of God to put the priestly line near the temple? It
Right.
kind of saves on their commute, doesn't it? Also, yes. Also, God realized that Judah is going to be separated from the rest of Israel, and the priestly line is going to stay with the tribe of Judah, right? The priestly line will stay with the tribe of Judah. Now, John the Baptist, he was a Levite. Does everybody realize that?
Yeah.
Both his mother and father were Levites. And Jesus was of the tribe of Judah, right? Both his mother and father were of the tribe of Judah. And yet John the Baptist and Jesus were cousins. How does that work?
Was
Yes.
And there is,
How does that work?
I just look
How does John the Baptist being a cousin with Jesus, one's from Judah, one's from Levi, the Levite tribe, and how can they be cousins?
Well, Elizabeth and Mary are related somehow.
Yeah, it must have been that Mary's mother and Elizabeth's mother
Or
must have been sisters, and they must have been Levites. So the Lord must have.
John the Baptist's father.
But their fathers could have been,
He's a priest.
Yes, right. Yeah, Luke chapter 1, verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abi, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. So we see here Elizabeth was from the Levite line, children of Aaron, and we see that Zacharias was a priest, so he had also been from the Levite line as well, right? And so that couldn't really have happened unless Aaron, the children of Aaron and the children of Judah were kind of living in the same location, right? And so that kind of brought those two families together. So the Levites had the cities in Benjamin. Jerusalem's there located in Benjamin. The 9 cities in Judah are Hebron, Libnah, Jeter, Eshtemoa, Holon, Debir, Ain, Jittah, and Jethsemes. And we see that in Joshua chapter 29, verses 9 through 16. Joshua 29, 9 through 16.
29 or 21?
I mean, Joshua 21, 9 through 16. So there's 9 cities in Judah. And, you know, I didn't really think we wanted to go through every single city and talk about the history of that. So, okay, good. Now I have the meaning of each of the names if you want to go through that very fast.
What was number 1?
Number 1, 13 cities located in the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin given to the children of Aaron. So of those cities, 9 of those cities are located in Judah. And those are the names of the cities. Just real quickly, Libnah means pavement, Jeter means plenty, Eshtemoa means I will make myself heard, Holon means sandy, Debir means sanctuary, Ain means spring, Juttah means stretched out, Beth-Shemesh means house of the sun, or sun temple. So those are the names, the meaning of those names. So 9 of the 13 are in Judah, 4 of the 13 are in Benjamin. And so those are Gibeon, Geba, Anna, and Alman. Gibeon means hill city. Geba means hill. Anna means answers to prayer. Alman means concealed.
What?
Alman means concealed, like hidden. And so those are the 13 cities given to the children of Aaron. Now there's 10 cities given to the rest of the family of the Kohathites. We see that in verse 5. The rest of the children of Kohath had out by lot of the families of the tribe of Ephraim, and out of the tribe of Dan, and out of the tribe of Manasseh. So the Kohathites will get cities out of Ephraim, Dan, and Manasseh. Ephraim, Dan, and Manasseh. So we have Dan. And Dan actually moved. So Dan was originally down here. Dan, Ephraim, and Manasseh. So 4 of those cities are in Ephraim: Shechem, Gezer, Kibzaim, and Beth-horon. Shechem means shoulder. Remember, that's one of the cities of refuge. Gezer means portion. Kibzaim means 2 gatherings. Beth-horon means house of hollowness. House of hollowness. So I guess an empty house. So 4 cities in Ephraim. 4 cities are in Dan. Those are Eltek, Gibbethon, Ajalon, and Gath-Rimon. Eltek means let God spew thee out. Yeah, I want to live in that city. Gibbethon means mound. Ajalon means field of deer. Gathamon means wine press of the pomegranate. Wine press of the pomegranate. So we have 4 cities Ephraim, 4 cities in Dan. How many cities would be in the half tribe of Manasseh?
2.
2. So 2 cities, Tanakh and Gath-Rimmon. Tanakh means sandy. And then Gath-Rimmon again means wine press of the pomegranate. All right, moving on to the next clan, the Gershon cities. And so they'll have 13 cities located in the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and Manasseh. So they're up at the top. Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, and Issachar. Two of those cities are going to be located in the tribe of Manasseh, Golan and Beshterah. Golan, of course, is one of the cities of refuge. Golan means captive. Beshterah means with increase. With increase. 4 cities are going to be located in Issachar, Kishon, Deborah, Jeremoth, and En-Ganim. Kishon means hard, Deborah means word, Jarmuth means heights, En-Ganim means fountain of the garden. All right, 4 cities will be located in Asher, Mishal, Abdon, Helkath, and Rahab. Mishal means entreaty, Abdon means servile, Helkath means smooth, and Rahab means board place. Board place. And then we have 3 cities in Naphtali, 3 cities in Naphtali, which is Kadesh, Hamath-dor, and Kartan. Kadesh is again one of our cities of refuge. Kadesh means holy place. Hamath-dor means hot springs of Dor, and Kartan means 2 cities. 2 cities. The last tribe we have to talk about is Merari's cities, and they're going to have 12 cities located in the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun will be that with the Merar's clans. So 12 cities there. And the cities of Zebulun will be Jokneam, Karta, Dimnah, and Nahalal. Jokneam means the people lament. Karta means city. Dimnah means dunghill. And Nahalal means pasture. 4 of the cities are going to be in Reuben, Bezer, which is one of our cities of refuge, Gehaza, Kedmoth, and Bezer means fortress, Gehaza means trodden down, Kedmoth means eastern, and Meth means splendor or height. And then we have 4 cities in Gad, which are Ramoth, Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer. Ramoth means heights, Mahanaim means 2 camps, Heshbon means stronghold, and Jazer means health. That all adds up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 12 cities. So 12 cities for Merar. So those are the Levitical cities. This is the inheritance of the Levites, where they can place their cattle and live. And that's where they're able to serve. And fortunately, we have the majority located near the temple, where most of the service and work happens. And of course, the others, the major cities, are the cities of refuge, where the court cases are going to be held. And then the Levites are also holding schools, performing other duties located all around. So we were never far away from training, from God's training. Do we have any questions on Numbers chapter 35? All right, Numbers chapter 36, we've actually, which is the last chapter of Numbers, we actually have gone over this. And so just real quickly to go over this, remember we had the inheritance is being given out, and here we've already talked about the boundaries of the Holy Land, we talked about the cities the Levites are in yet, and then we have these 5 daughters of Zelophehad who've come up and said, our father has died. What should we get? And so Moses had said, well, you can get the inheritance of the father. And so that raises another question, right? If you are of Zelophehad's tribe, and you see that these 5 daughters have now get their own inheritance and they marry, then that's going to go with the husband. Well, what if the husband is from another tribe? That means part of the inheritance to our fathers has now moved to another tribe. And so this is where that talks about. And so Numbers 36, verses 1 through 4, we talk about the children of Gilead bringing up this question and giving the land of inheritance to the 5 daughters of Zelophehad. Verses 5 and 6, we find where Moses states that the daughters can marry anyone, but he had a condition.
Stay within the tribe.
Stay with the tribe, marry somebody in your tribe. So if you want to keep the inheritance of your father, marry somebody within the tribe. And I'm sure if you decide to marry somebody outside the tribe, the other guy was better looking, then you give up your inheritance. Give up your inheritance. We had, unfortunately, had one of the ladies at work, we had to call 911 and she had to go to the doctor, but while we're waiting for 911 to show up, there was 4 firemen that came in, and so I was standing with one of the secretaries, and these 3 handsome big men come walking through, and she goes, those 3 big men. What was that out loud? And then behind these 3 men was a smaller man. So there's a little one. So, and all the stress of the day, that brought some humor. So anyway, the daughters, they saw somebody who was hungry or looking outside their tribe. Well, I guess they could go marry them, but they had to give up their inheritance. So if they want to keep their inheritance, they had to stay with the tribe. And so this law applies to anybody, any daughter who has an inheritance. What did the daughters of Zelophehad do?
Married within their
They
tribe.
married within their tribe. They married within their tribe. Yes. They were free to marry whoever they wanted. But if they want to keep the inheritance, they need to marry within the tribe.
So they use brains.
So Numbers chapter 36, verse 13 is the last verse of Numbers. These are the commandments and the judgments which the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses and the children of Israel in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho. So here, summarizing basically the law here of the inheritance, but basically summarizing the rest of Numbers itself. These are the commandments and judgments, everything here. This is what's been given here in the plains of Moab, the last location that they were at before going across the Jordan River. So we find the location, we find here a summary. These are the commandments and judgments which the Lord commanded. So there we close off the book of Numbers. Now I've put up all my notes, which total up to 492 pages worth of notes. I've uploaded it to a Google Drive. And so if you want to have access to all that, all the handouts, all the graphics and stuff like that.
Like that would be in there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's definitely in there. That's on the Google Drive, and so I just need to know your email address so I can invite you to have access to that drive if you want it or not.
You have my email.
Yes, I will put it on here.
Thank you.
And so this also includes all the previous classes, all the rest of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and the Bible doctrines that we've gone over. So all that's accessible to you. All right, we have just a little bit of time, and we can have time for a quick review, right? Some questions? All right, so here we go. We can answer these questions. What is the Hebrew title for the book of Numbers? What is the Hebrew title for the book of Numbers? The title. Title. Now say it in English, but what is the Hebrew version, or Hebrew title for the book of Numbers? No, no. How did the Hebrews? No. How did the Hebrews title their books?
Things that happen.
Well, we talk about the same subject every time we talk about a different book. We'll talk about it in Deuteronomy next week, but it's the first phrase of the first phrase of the book is the title. So Numbers chapter 1 verse 1 says, "The Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai." The title that the Hebrews have given this book is "In the Wilderness of Sinai." In the wilderness. That's the title of Numbers. In the wilderness. Right? So Genesis, what would be Genesis?
In the
In the
beginning.
beginning. Right. So that's the title. So here, Numbers is in the wilderness. In the wilderness, which is a very appropriate title for Numbers, right?
Right.
We are just now got to the very end of the wilderness, and we'll be stepping into the promised land when we get to what's Exodus? Well, you got to go to the beginning of Exodus.
Which
Now
is,
these are the names of the children of Israel who came.
Now these are the names.
Now these are the names.
These are the names.
uh,
So you already know the answer to next week's question. What's the title of Deuteronomy?
it is,
Oh, no, don't go ahead of us now.
these be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side of the Jordan.
These be the words. All right, second question. Where did the first census take place?
Wilderness of
Wilderness of
Sinai.
Sinai. That's right, Sinai. Where did the second census take place? Not in Kadesh Barnea.
It's still in the wilderness.
They're still in the wilderness, right? The plains of Moab. How many men were fit for military service for the first census? I figure I need to put a number in there somewhere. 600,000 and change? Change by 5,000? 602,000? 603,550. 603,550. And the second census wasn't very far different from that. Who questions Moses' authority at Hazeroth? Who questioned Moses' authority at Hazeroth? Huh?
Is that correct?
Miriam?
Oh,
And
and
Aaron. Miriam and Aaron.
Aaron is just.
Yeah, Miriam, Aaron followed the law, right? And Miriam was the one that had to take the brunt of the punishment. And what is Miriam's punishment? Leprosy. And so she had to stay outside the camp for how many days? 7 days. 7 days. And so Moses pleaded for his sister. So the mercy, you can just see the character of Moses. We saw the character of Moses throughout all the book of Numbers, didn't we? What family rebelled against Moses and was swallowed up by the earth? Korah. And of course, there was 2 other families that were involved as well, but the Korah was the primary one, the Korathites. And where did that take place? In the wilderness. You're saying the title of the book. In other words, you're saying in Numbers. In Numbers. You find that in Numbers. Kadesh Barnea. Kadesh Barnea. Remember, Korah was, he was a cousin, first cousin of Moses. And you remember, he was very upset. How can our leader here, Moses, and all our people are dying? What kind of leader is that? I can do better than Moses. And God stated clearly that I have chosen Moses and Aaron to be my leaders.
Your politics didn't
Result in anything. As it was in the beginning, so it is now, whatever we.
then we joined the
We
politics.
always feel we're better than whoever is doing something that we can do better. That's all.
Yeah.
Why did God not allow Moses and Aaron to go into the promised land?
Disobeyed.
And what was his disobedience?
He told him.
He picked the rock.
He struck the rock.
How many times did he strike the rock?
Twice.
Twice. Was there an occasion when God did command Moses to strike the rock? Yes.
The first time.
The first time. This is the second time, right? Well, now why, what about the rest of the people? Why weren't they allowed to go to the promised land?
They didn't trust
Weren't
God.
allowed, yeah.
Because.
They
They
can
didn't
trust
trust
them.
God.
When was that?
The spies.
The spies, right?
Oh,
So,
I thought so, why?
okay, why?
Because God has promised.
Because God told them because they didn't know, they listened to the 10 spies. Who gave
I
them that
thought,
report.
okay, it's a why did others were allowed?
Why did others allow?
Why just Moses? You know, like others were allowed to go, but Moses.
Moses was.
Other people sinned as well,
Yes.
but they're still allowed to go.
Well, there was a whole generation who were not allowed. They had to wait for the generation to die off.
Yeah.
Except for what two people?
Joshua and Caleb.
Joshua and
Caleb.
Caleb. But Moses and Aaron, they couldn't go because they were their disobedience and striking the rock.
Aaron is right.
Aaron was the captain.
Huh? Yeah, well, this is where we find both of you can't go. Which two priests died because of handling strange fire?
Aaron was
So it's his oldest son.
Yeah, he was the son.
Do they have names?
Yes. Do I remember?
That's way back
No.
then. That ain't numbers. That seem like that.
No, it's all the way in the book of Numbers. Nadab and Abihu. Nadab and Abihu. So you're probably more familiar with the third and fourth sons then, right?
Elliot.
Eleazar and Ithamar.
Amazing smart.
And so Eleazar is the one that took the mantle when Aaron died.
Amazing grace.
When the Israelites moved, which tribe moved first? Remember the order of the camps?
The Levites.
No.
Judah.
Judah. Judah. How many men did God use to help Moses carry the burden of the people? 70. 70. Does anybody remember the story behind that one?
That was the
Father-in-law.
father.
Father-in-law.
Well, there was a father-in-law as well, and then there was also the second story where they asked for quail, and Moses wanted to kill himself.
Oh, yeah.
So then God said, "You've got 70 men filled with the Spirit."
You're under too much stress.
So I don't know. I mean, you bring up a good point. Why didn't it? Maybe Moses' father-in-law gave the recommendation. They tried to implement it, and somehow that fell off, so it had to be reinstated. But yeah, there's those two different occasions. And so clearly, from that particular story, God's pointing out to Moses that I'm the one in control. The burden is not you; it's on me. And if I say I'm going to give quail, I'll give quail. You don't have to try to figure out where the quail is going to come from because I've told you I'm going to do it. And I'm going to support you with 70 men to help you out. Who is meek above all men which were on the face of the earth? Moses. Moses. He had a special relationship with God that the others couldn't understand. How many rods were laid before the Lord in the tabernacle? So this has to deal with the story of Korah, and God's proving which one he's chosen to be the leader. And so the leaders of the 12 tribes, Aaron being one of the leaders of the Levites, laid rods down. What happened to Aaron's rod?
Produce almonds.
It produced almonds. Yeah, not only blossomed, but produced, right? Almonds. And almonds, we found out was very interesting. Almonds are the first thing you're planting, is the last thing you harvest. It's has such a long, what do you want to call it, gestation period? From seedling to harvest. And so here one night it yielded almonds.
So it's good that gives the seeds.
That's right. Who did not receive an inheritance of land? Levites. Levites. What remedy was given to those bitten by snakes?
Look at the snake, the brass snake.
Look at the bronze snake. What determined whether the Israelites traveled or camped?
Cloud.
Fire.
Fire.
Right. The cloud by day, the fire by night. Cloud by day and fire by night. And why couldn't Balaam curse Israel?
They were blessed by God.
God was blessing.
Yeah. You can't curse something that God has blessed. And Balaam found that out. What's also interesting about Balaam? He talks with a donkey. Talking donkey. So here we have the book of Numbers. Of course, those questions didn't have anything to do with all the statistics that we talked about and locations, but a quick highlight of the book of Numbers. We're going to get to the book of Deuteronomy, which Deuteronomy means second law. And it's not a second law, but Moses is going to take an opportunity. We're going to see Moses, I'll just call them sermons. He's going to give 3 sermons before he dies. And so he's going to do a thorough review of everything we've talked about from Exodus to Numbers. So we're going to be able to see Moses' passion. He kind of, I want to say, rambles along. And you can just, if you just put yourself in Moses' position, put yourself in Moses as someone who's 120, knows you've come to the very end, know you've led, God has used you to lead 2.5 million people through the wilderness, and you've got them to the gate of the promised land. And you're not going to be able to go see it, so you're devastated internally, but you're also reviewing what God has done all those past 40 years in the wilderness. And so so that's the perspective. Once you put yourself in Moses' perspective as he's talking from an elderly statesman to a younger generation that didn't live through the things he's going to be talking about. And not all of them lived through that. So that's the book of Deuteronomy. So we're going to get a nice review, a quick review from Moses' perspective. So we'll jump into Deuteronomy next week. Is everybody excited about the book of Numbers? I thought it was a lot of fun. Let's close in prayer. Dear Father, Lord, we thank you for today, Lord. We thank you for your word, Lord, and Lord, specifically, we look through the book of Numbers, and Lord, we've seen your faithfulness through all of it. Lord, we've seen your justice through all of it. Lord, we've seen how you've never left them behind. And Lord, we know that you do that for us as well, Lord. Lord, we thank you that salvation is open for everybody, and we can run to it. Lord, we thank you for the salvation you provide for each of us, Lord. Lord, just may we should be able to share with others. Lord, may this class be able to help us to reach others for you. May you bless Pastor Allen and fill him with the Holy Spirit in the hour to come. In Jesus' name.
Can you put that Google whatever it is?